Hello and welcome. I'm Matt Christopher and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'd like to say first of all thank you very much to all of you for your love and support as we as a family have gone through an extremely difficult time in terms of dealing with my father's illness. Dad is still soldiering on, so we're very blessed to have any time that we can with him. But I just want to say thank you to all the well wishes from people right around the world. It means a lot to me and my family. So thank you very much. Also, I wanted to say thank you to the many of you who have subscribed to my channel. I'd like to say a big hi to Fred. He is a former elder of the Jehovah's Witnesses and is new to my YouTube channel, and he reached out to me. So Fred, I said that I would mention you, so thank you very much, and I'm sure that you'll be able to contribute to this conversation, especially with your expertise as a former elder of Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, this video is about the response that we had from the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses recently, which is to forecast that more changes of organizational and religious ideals are coming. Now, what Jehovah's Witnesses have done for, well, over 100 years is to use the idea of some secret knowledge of when the end is going to come to be the big push factor when it comes to people joining their movement. Now, as a fourth generation Jehovah's Witness, I am living proof, I suppose, that their prophecies don't come true. Now, what the governing body has recently said is that they are neither infallible nor inspired, and that they err when it comes to doctrine, policies, and procedures, and we agree with that. But one of the points that they have made, these refinements of understanding, while on the face of it really is not particularly important in the bigger picture of where Jehovah's Witnesses are going, and this whole YouTube channel is set up as, I suppose, provocative and thought-provoking ideals on why Jehovah's Witnesses should be avoided and why giving your allegiance to them is not to be advised. The change is this. They have always said, since their inception as Jehovah's Witnesses after the second president of the Watchtower Society, that its ruling elite, its governing body, would not only be alive when the Great Tribulation and then their Armageddon occurs, but they would also survive for some time into their paradise. Now, you may say, well, what difference would such things of its membership or its leading figures within its leadership group surviving into their paradise, what difference would it make to the day-to-day lives of Jehovah's Witnesses? Now, this is the point. They now claim that with their clearer understanding, and somehow that Jehovah God didn't give them the understanding at the time, but now they have it clearly, and that is that the leadership group, the governing body, and those claiming to be part of their 144,000, that's right, only 144,000 people will ever go to heaven, so Jehovah's Witnesses are concerned, is that they are going to be taken to heaven before the end of their great tribulation and Armageddon, especially Armageddon. And that the non-heavenly anointed, or anointed, those claiming to go to heaven, I should say, will be left on the earth. Now, this is nothing more than smoke and mirrors, really, but I want to point out when it comes to the pull factor for Jehovah's Witnesses. I have with me from my research, this is a question from readers, and it's way back in the Watchtower of September the 1st of 1952. And the question from readers is this: your publications point out that the Battle of Armageddon will come in this generation, and that this generation began in AD 1914. Scripturally, how long is a generation? Now, they go through and give their opinion of what the Bible says is a generation, how long that is, what it means. But this is the point down here later in that study article, or sorry, that question I should say, of September the 1st of 1952. I'll just read a little portion of their answer, and this is why I'll come to this point that they're making. Some persons living AD 1914, when this series of foretold events began, will also be living when the series ends with Armageddon. All the events will come within the span of a generation. There are hundreds of millions of people living now that were living in 1914, and many millions of these people could yet live a score or more years. Okay, just when the lives of the majority of them will be cut short by Armageddon. So this here, I'll just end it there, is what Watchtower did, first of all, is 1914 was this marked year for them. Okay? First of all, as we've mentioned before, that anybody that started off understood 1914, that they wouldn't die before the end came. Then it shifted with the new light to anybody that was born in 1914, that they would be alive when the end came. Then they got rid of that idea, and then after various changes, they came to the overlapping generation, which basically meant that somebody that lived at the same time as another person that was older than them and that was at least born in 1914, that second person wouldn't die out before the end came. Now, by Watchtower saying that the governing body, to put it in simple terms, is going to be gone, taken to heaven before the end of Armageddon, what it does is it indicates that they have an escape clause. Okay? That's this. Many observers have asked what the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses is planning on doing. Now, I believe, and this is just my opinion, is that with their new flash of divine light, wouldn't it be appropriate after 100 odd years that this group of the all-powerful governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses decided that they weren't going to appoint any more members to their all-powerful cabal in New York? They could simply wind down the time, claiming that we're getting closer and closer, and as they got older, it would be proof undeniable, because they were going to be the last of God's chosen leadership group on earth, and when they died, it would be only reasonable because, of course, they'll be taken to heaven, and they would never have to ever face up to what they had done morally, spiritually, and religiously. Now, that is what I genuinely feel. You see, they need two things. They need to keep people hooked onto the idea that there is something tangible that they can see as to when the end is coming. And secondly, that group of men does not want to pass on to another group of cabal of men to then have to answer the questions as to why this faith has changed from its original purpose, which was the knowledge of the end of the world and proclaiming that to all and sundry, and to realise that 200 years later, that they're still in this wicked system without divine intervention. The acknowledgement that the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses is neither inspired or infallible are simply just weasel words. They have been proven to be callous liars when it comes to their position before God and man. One stroke of a pen decides the future of millions, whether it's education, whether it's healthcare, whether it is one's view of even owning their own home or investing in their future financially. I feel that what the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses is doing is setting itself up for its final disappearing act. I'm Matthew Christopher, and I hope that you find this thought-provoking and interesting. Thank you very much.